All right, welcome back, my friends, to episode number 32 of the Terry Hansen Show. As you know, my name is Terry Hansen, and this show is devoted towards revealing to you, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, freelancers, the sales prospecting secrets that all the best producers are using these days to generate more new business for their companies. I'm excited to be back with you once again. So welcome, 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 and greetings as always from Podunk, Idaho, land of the potato. One of these days I'm going to get actually a Mr. Potato Head, and every time I say that I'm going to hold up Mr. Potato Head and give him a little wiggle there. He's going to be the official mascot of the Terry Hansen Show since I live here in the state of Idaho. So today you and I are going to talk about 4 sales techniques that are total garbage, total rubbish, junk that you should never, ever use under any circumstances, no matter your selling environment. I get a little heated. I get a little frustrated and angry. I'll share with you why, because there is nothing, being in professional sales, whether you're an entrepreneur or a freelancer or a sales professional, being in sales is a noble profession. We talked a little bit about this on episode 30, I think episode number 30, about how awesome it is and how worthwhile being in sales is. It's certainly nothing that we need to be ashamed of or embarrassed of in any way, shape, or form. However, one of the things that boils my bones and boils my blood is all the terrible, horrible sales professionals, sales people out there that continue to use manipulative, high pressure, sleazy, sales techniques and tactics in an effort to try to get people to buy from them. Now, I recognize that not all selling environments are created equal. Some selling environments are a business to consumer, a B2C environment where you're selling at somebody's front door and sitting in their living room. Or you're at a retail environment. You might be selling real estate or insurance or selling cars or those kinds of things. And I appreciate those kinds of contexts. But there's also other selling contexts and environments, business to business, where you're selling to general managers and CEOs and that sort of thing. But by and large, you and I as entrepreneurs and freelancers and sales professionals, by and large, you and I are selling in a business to business context. We're trying to track down the CEOs, the general managers, the executive vice presidents, the VPs, and trying to get conversations with them and walk them through the various stages of the selling process to close sales. Now, in that context, in that context and in those environments, there are absolutely certain sales techniques that have been perpetuated for decades that you should never, ever use. If you try to do that, you will continue to promote and validate and validate and promote all the negative stereotypes that come along with salespeople, sales professionals and sales reps, salespeople. For decades have had a negative stereotype of being money grabbers, pushy, aggressive, talk too much, manipulative, high pressure, all of those dishonest. I mean, the list goes on and on. Anytime we use the wrong kind of sales techniques or tactics, all we do is validate and promote and substantiate that negative stereotype is alive and well. So there are certain sales techniques that we cannot use. We need to throw them in the garbage. And I recently today, from a well-known sales guru, I won't mention any names, but this particular gentleman continues to promote these garbage techniques. And like I said, I won't mention any names, but I took the liberty to print some of them off. And I want to highlight 4 particular techniques that you should never use if you're in business to business sales, right? The first one deals with appointment setting. So let me find that. Let me track that down. Okay. So here's what this particular guru, who's been around decades, written many, many books and given lots of lectures and seminars, he's a legend, no question. But his techniques today, 2019, for business to business selling that are in this document, total rubbish. Ignore them, don't use them. And if you happen to be using something like this, please stop immediately. You're not only damaging yourself, but you're ruining it for all of the rest of us too, because you're creating a bad name for the rest of us. So don't use this one. This is called the close on appointments sales technique. And this particular guru is saying to use this to get in-person appointments over the phone. So if you're saying you're making a cold call and you're trying to schedule an appointment, he's saying use this line. I'm saying this rubbish. Do not use it. So here it is. Quote, would you like to see a system that would enable you to increase your sales by 20 to 30% over the next 12 months? Unquote. And the prospect at that point in time is supposed to say, well, sure. And then the salesperson says, let's set up a time to do that. Rubbish, garbage, excrement in the highest. Do not use that, because we know for a fact these kinds of sales propositions that talk about not only the features and benefits and the value of purchasing the product, they come across as high pressure. They come across as sleazy. Why? Because you don't even know anything about this company or this business. And here you are making a value proposition. You're proposing, you're suggesting and recommending a solution without any sort of context, whether or not it's valuable to them at all whatsoever. Terry's recommendation, don't make assumptions about what will be valuable to them. Instead, introduce yourself, start asking some questions about what some issues and challenges and problems are that they're having, and then offer some sort of offer that's gonna create value for them based on what you know. But don't make any guesses there. When you do, that's what gets you and I into trouble and gets us a bad reputation. Okay, here's another one. This is called the instant reverse close. Instant reverse closing technique. And this guru says you can use this in any situation. So let's pretend you make a phone call and you introduce yourself and they say, I'm not interested. So you get a rejection right off the bat to your cold call. So with that context, the guru here says, you should say, quote, that's exactly why I'm calling. Most of our best customers are not interested when we first contacted them. Now they recommend us to their friends, unquote. Stupid. Who's going to fall for that? I mean, in 2019, really, our buyer's going to say, oh, I guess I was wrong. I said I was not interested, but gosh, everybody else is really interested. I guess now magically I'm interested. Do we, as salespeople, actually think people are stupid enough to buy into this? They're not. Their BS meter is really high right now. So when you and I as sales professionals say garbage like that, all they do is roll their eyes and go, ugh, can I get this guy off the phone any faster, right? Do not use these manipulative, trite, old school techniques. They're garbage and they do nothing but ruin it for you and ruin it for the rest of us. Okay, so let's move on. Next one is dealing with how to get somebody excited about your products and services. Now, there's no question, but before somebody is going to be interested and motivated to schedule a follow-up call with you or continue on in the sales process and keep chatting with you, book a meeting with you, whatnot, they certainly have to be motivated and interested in what you have to offer. However, the recommendation here that this particular guru is suggesting is garbage. This one's called the power of suggestion close. And he says, use this to get a prospect excited about your product and service. Okay, and so it says this, talk as if the prospect already made the decision to buy. So I've never met him before, trying to get him interested to meet with me. I'm going to try to talk to them as if they're already magically interested in what I have to offer. They don't even know you. They don't even know what you offer. How is that even possible? Okay, here we go. Quote, you're going to really love the way this car handles on the road. Unquote. Assumptively talking about that? Oh, don't even get me started. Here's what we know for a fact. Product features and benefits do not motivate and excite strangers to the point where they're going to be willing to meet with you for the first time. It just doesn't work. What motivates people to meet with you is talking about, having a dialogue or having a conversation about their own problems and issues and challenges that they're really wish they could find a way to solve and fix, or talking about their goals and results and outcomes and priorities that they want to achieve, that they're already working really hard to achieve, how you can expedite that and make that faster. That's what they want to talk about. That's what motivates them to listen more to you and want to hear more about what you have to offer that might be able to help them solve a problem or achieve a business priority, right? That's what motivates people. Use that stuff, but don't talk assumptively. You're really going to enjoy this product feature, so let's schedule a time. No, nobody buys that stuff. They're not buying what you're selling. So stop using that kind of garbage sales technique. Okay, what else we got here? These deal with closing. So you fast forward, so getting out of the prospecting stage, don't typically talk a lot about closing sales, but we're going to dive there right now. So we fast forward, we get through the qualification stage, we get through the presentation stage, and now we're at the closing stage, trying to close the sale. This guru offers several, but I picked out two closing techniques that you should always use. Garbage, never use these. The first one is called the demonstration close, and you're going to use this one actually at the beginning of your sales presentation. So you can imagine just standing there in front of your prospect or on the phone, and you're getting ready to dive into going over the bid or the proposal and talking about your stuff. He says this, says this quote, "If I can show you the very best investment that you've ever seen, are you in a position to put $5,000 on it right now?" Unquote. It's the old, if I could show you ... would you fill in the blank? That any version or any flavor of that, if I could show you fill in the blank, or if we could find a way blank, would you, and then lead to some sort of close. Would you buy now? That is the world's oldest closing technique that is garbage in a business-to-business sales environment. You try to say something like that to a CEO, and they're going to look at you really funny and go, are you for real? Are you really asking me that kind of trite closing question? They see right through it. They know exactly what you're trying to do. These old world closing techniques, they've only been used for 5 decades, right? And they're so tired that every CEO, every vice president, every executive has heard them 1,000 times. When you and I try to use them, all that does is destroy our credibility. It gets rid of any goodwill and trust and credibility that we've accumulated up until that point. So don't ruin a good thing by trying some sort of sleazy old school closing technique. It'll backfire on you. Okay, here's the last one on this particular deal here. This one is called the order sheet close. The order sheet close. Never use this one. It's garbage too. He's also saying use this at the beginning of your presentation. Here's what he suggests doing. Write everything the prospect says about the product on an order form. So pretend you've got a sales order form. What's the product? How many do they want? What's the product? How many do they want? Put the price tag there. Fill out the order sheet. All right, that doesn't really happen all that often in a business-to-business environment. In a B2C environment, maybe it does, but fill out the order form and then explain, quote, "I have a terrible memory for deals, so I like to write everything down. And if you don't buy anything today, I'll just throw it away. Is that okay?" Oh my goodness. Are you so ignorant as a salesperson that you don't think the buyer knows what you're doing? You're filling out a purchase and sale agreement, an order form. They know what you're doing. They know what they're prepping. You know that they're prepping for the sale. Now, how does that look? If I'm not in a position where I'm interested to buy, ready to buy, I'm not quite at that buying stage, and yet the consultant, the sales rep is filling out the order form, how does that make me feel? Does that make me feel like the salesperson has got my best interests in mind? Who's more excited about this, the salesperson or me? Who should be more excited? Me. But obviously he's already filling out the sales order form. He's pretty excited about this guy. That scares me to death as a consumer. I'm like, gosh, can we just slow down just a minute here for crying out loud? These kinds of manipulative sales techniques were going to backfire on you. Do not use them under any circumstances. And I'll wrap up with 2 more. These deal with overcoming objections. These are doozies. These are the Lulus of the batch. Okay, these just boil my blood. Okay, so pretend that you get some sort of objection. You're somewhere in the sales process, maybe trying to close a sale, maybe in the presentation stage, whatever, and you're trying to close a sale and you get an objection. They give you a concern, a worry, a fear, ask a question that kind of derails things, right? So these are 2 techniques that I recommend you never use, but that this guru says keep using. That is garbage. The first one's called the sudden death close. The sudden death close, and I wish that would suddenly die on this one. Repeatedly won't make a decision. So in this context, you've tried to close the sale. The prospect won't make a decision one way or the other. They're kind of stuck. Now, in that circumstance, this guru is saying, let's use a little tension to get them to actually make a decision and sign it. It says this: fill out the entire sales contract with all the details, the way that you've discussed, except for the signature. Put your pen on top of it, slide it across the desk, and then say, if you'll just authorize this, we can get started right away. Really? Really? Does that work? No, try that with the CEO. Let me know how that works for you. You're going to get a punch in the face. You try to push and manipulate and pressure an executive like that, and they're going to throw you out. You'll waste all the goodwill and trust that you've created to that point. What do I recommend? Call a spade, and you say something like, Kevin, I noticed that you're a little uneasy about deciding either to, yes, move forward with this, or no, to not move forward with this. Can you tell me why exactly? They'll answer, and then you respond with something like, Kevin, I don't want to put any pressure on you whatsoever. If this is not a good idea, why don't we just shake hands and call it good? Why don't we just shake hands and part as friends? I'm okay with a no, really, I am. If this is not a good fit for you, we can just call it good. Be okay with a no. Gather up your things, stand up and start walking out. So, and let them pull you back. If it's a yes, if they want to do it, they'll pull you back. But go for the no, for crying out loud. Don't beg for business. In a business to business context, you never beg for business. Don't look needy. Don't look desperate. Don't play those games. Just be simple. If it's not a fit, it's okay. I'll shake hands and move on. You know, there's hundreds of other people that really do need my help. And I don't want to waste any more of your time if this isn't a good fit. So walk away. Let them make a decision. Okay, here we go. So either work to understand what the objection is, or just take it as a no and move on. And if they're a yes, they'll come back. Okay, here's the last one. This is called the sharp angle close. The sharp angle close. I'm not even sure what that refers to or means. But you use this when the prospect brings up smokescreen objections. So this is kind of garbage reasons why they don't want to buy. Okay, so here we go. If the prospect hesitates on the monthly payment, say, quote, well, if we could spread the payments out over a longer period of time and get them down, would you take it? Now, while I appreciate trying to change the parameter a little bit, the problem that I have is that recommendation of getting the payments lower and stretching it out over a period of time. That's one solution to this problem. Now, the right approach to this, the consultant's approach in a business-to-business context would be is saying, John, it seems like that monthly number might be more than you can handle. Is that correct? Or maybe is a little too much. Is that correct? Tell me how you're feeling. What am I sensing from you here? But ask some questions, learn. Have them tell you, gosh, if there's just a way that we could get the payments down somehow, some way, maybe even stretch it out, I think that would sure make a big difference. Hear that from them first. Ask questions to hear that from them first. And then you can say, well, I don't usually do this, but I think we could probably work something where we could maybe drop the payment, extend the term, and get it down. But what number would make sense? This number or this number? And they answer, okay, so if we get it to this number and stretch it out to this number of months, would that make a difference? Would that help you? And when they say yes, you say, okay, I think we could probably work that out. If we can do that, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like we could move forward? Or is there anything else that might make you nervous? And you wait for them. Do you see how I'm taking things step at a time instead of just assumptively saying, if we could stretch out the payments and make it cheaper for you, are you ready to get started today? That sort of assumption is totally arrogant, totally pushy, totally manipulative. Our business-to-business buyers see right through that sort of garbage. So I have given you 6 sales techniques that under no circumstances you are to use. I forbid you in every way, shape, or form. Whether you're trying to schedule appointments, whether you're trying to motivate people to buy from you, or whether you're trying to close sales or overcome objections, there are certain sales techniques that were invented decades ago that for some unknown reason continue to perpetuate until this day, 2019. My suggestion is, do not use these kinds of garbage techniques. They destroy your credibility. They ruin your trust. They're manipulative. They're salesy. They're cheesy. They're tried. They're old, and our prospects can see right through them. They've heard them 1,000 times, and they seem gimmicky. And when we try to use them, it just makes us look like we're playing the idiot, playing the fool. So my recommendation to you is take your salesperson hat off for a minute and instead put your consultant hat on. Put a consultant hat on and think of recommending and suggesting, thinking about don't be so needy and desperate to close a sale. Never get in front of the buyer. Never be more excited to close a sale than your buyer is. Anyway, I get so heated and angry because the negative stereotypes out there are still around and available. And these kind of garbage sales techniques only hurt our industry and our profession. When we use these, they do more damage than anything else on the planet. So anyway, I hope this rant has given you some food for thought and some things to think about what to avoid when you're scheduling appointments, motivating prospects, and trying to close sales and overcome objections. Avoid this garbage and use some better techniques. So stay tuned in a later episode, and I'm happy to share some other strategies that you can use. So it's great to be with you. Be sure to leave your comments down below on other nasty, terrible, horrible, garbage sales techniques that you should absolutely avoid. This is just a small sampling. So if you've run into some doozies, some Lulus that need to be added to the garbage bin, post those down below. Let's spread the word. Let's get these out. So post your comments down below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified anytime we've got new episodes popping out. We come up with these several times a week. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. Like and share the video. And also be sure to click on some of the links in the description to get access to our free sales training groups and our coaching workshops, as well as our coaching, our sales prospecting workshops coming up this week as well. So anyway, great to be with you. Keep up the good work. And until we meet again, keep selling well. Take care. Bye-bye.